What's a specific example from your life of a non-native English speaker making a really good impression on you?
One of the nicest things, or that puts a big smile on my face, is when I just go to.
Derek, great to see you again, man. Thank you for being here.
Hey Grant, great to be here. Thanks a lot for inviting me onto this call.
Totally, totally. So to start, for people who don't know you, can you share a little bit about your background and your specialization in coaching people on small talk?
Yeah, absolutely. So I originally come from Ireland, but I've been living in Austria in Central Europe for 25 years now. I started my career as a business English coach 20 years ago in 2004.
Wow.
And since then, I've spent a lot of time in different companies and in online classes,
Hmm.
helping executives and managers improve their business English skills. And one thing that I specialize in is helping people to be better at small talk.
Got it, got it. So that's interesting. You mentioned executives, very high level successful people. Some people might think, do they even need help with small talk? Why do you think that's important for success in global business?
Yeah, good question. Absolutely. Small talk, I would say that anybody working internationally could use some small talk. It's hugely important for relationship building. So
Hmm.
that's what I always say. If you want to have strong relationships, it kind of all starts with small talk. When you think about it, any
Sure, sure.
relationship, whether private or professional, they all start with some small talk.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, building relationships, you know, making people remember you, showing an interest, a genuine interest in others
Sure,
and their
sure.
businesses. It, it helps you to make a strong impression. And then ultimately, you know, another thing that I always tell people is those strong relationships,
Hmm.
they often lead to interesting opportunities for your business or your company, but also for you personally. So
Exactly,
y-
exactly.
absolutely,
Yeah.
small talk is huge in my eyes.
Hmm. Completely agree. Yeah. So when it comes to small talk, especially for non-native English speakers who are working in the US, working in the UK, working with natives, what are some mistakes and some challenges that you often see?
Well, yeah, mistakes. I think one of the biggest mistakes is just being too nervous or shy to even try small talk.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I understand that, and I get why people would be nervous about it, especially in their second language. Some people are nervous about small talk in their first language.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it absolutely makes sense for people to feel that way, and I get that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but I try to encourage people to look at the bigger picture, to trust themselves, you know, what's more important, or, if you stay quiet, some people could mistake that for indifference, and what I mean by that
Yeah.
is that you're
Yeah.
not interested.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Another thing that people struggle with is, how do I actually start a conversation?
Sure,
Um,
sure.
and it's really not that difficult. All you need is a little bank of 5 to 10 very simple and short conversation starters
Hmm.
that you can use in lots of different situations.
Yeah, yeah.
Even a simple one like with your colleague in the office. How was your weekend? You know, could be the
Hmm.
start of a really good conversation.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and then people often struggle to keep conversations going. So, okay, I might start the
Hmm.
conversation, but what do I do afterwards?
They
How do I
reply, and then what do I say next? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
how do I keep it going? And also, having basically some, a few topics always in mind. So these typical
Mm,
small talk topics that work. And for each topic, having like, 3 or 4 questions. And
mm,
when
mm.
when you have those in the back of your mind, you can use them to keep conversations going. Um, and also then, to change the topic, people get nervous about what happens when I don't have anything else to say, or the other
Yeah, that
person,
can be hard.
when there's an awkward silence.
Hmm.
So it's quite, you can change the subject using very simple techniques that are easy to learn, and then change, use what I call like a simple filler word, like so, and then use one of those questions that you have in your bank to
Hmm.
change the
Hmm.
topic and move the conversation in a different direction.
Sounds great. Yeah, yeah.
I know it sounds easy, but when I say it like this, but having just, as I said, like just a bank of questions, prepared helps it in a big,
Hmm.
big way.
Hmm. As far as topics go, because you mentioned maybe think of a couple different topics and a couple questions for each topic. What are some good go-to topics for somebody that just is totally lost? They're not sure what to ask.
General topics like travel, hobbies and interests, current projects. So when you meet
Hmm.
someone,
Hmm.
it could be a colleague from another department. A simple question like, are you working on anything interesting at the moment? Or, you can ask about a specific project. How's it going with the XYZ project?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
current projects is a good one in a business
Hmm.
context. And then, just privately, travel, hobbies and interests, family. If you know the person
Oh,
well,
yeah.
it's a topic you have to be careful with, because if you don't know the person that well, maybe, you know, you shouldn't ask too much about family.
Hmm.
Or another one that I think works well is depending on like where you are. If you're at a conference, I often tell people or give them the tip to use their surroundings for small talk
Oh,
to
yeah. That's a
help
great
with
tip.
small talk. So let's say you're at a cool a conference, and the actual conference center is very cool and modern.
Hmm.
That can be a conversation starter, like,
Hmm. Hmm.
hey, this place is really cool, isn't it? Or what a
Hmm.
beautiful location, things like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, or the city where you are on that business trip. Is this your first time here? Um, are you gonna be able to spend some time taking a look around the city? Will you have
Hmm.
time for some sightseeing? Stuff like that can be
Hmm.
really helpful.
Excellent. So another question or another topic that I think a lot of non-natives struggle with is transitioning from a more casual conversation to a business conversation. Maybe they start a meeting with an
Right.
English-speaking customer. They talk about personal stuff for a while, and then it's okay, how do I switch to the purpose of the meeting? So, what would you
Yeah.
recommend there? What are some good transition phrases that people can use when moving from small talk to a more professional conversation?
Yeah, it's another good question. Yeah, because sometimes you get caught up in a conversation, and it's really nice, and it's going
Hmm.
well, but you know ultimately you're there for a reason to do business. So in this
Hmm.
situation, I think simple phrases like, again, earlier I mentioned that simple conversation or subject changer. So maybe we should get started with the meeting.
Your tone of voice and the attitude you show can be important as well. If you say it in a really cold, unfriendly way,
Yeah.
it could seem like you're saying, I don't care about your life, let's talk business. But if you say it in a more warm way, like, hey, it's awesome getting to know you better. I want to respect your time. So why don't we move to the business topic for today? And maybe in lunch we can talk, maybe during lunch we can talk more about this. Something like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
in a more
yeah,
friendly, warm
absolutely.
tone. Yeah.
Definitely, that's a really good point because yeah, the how you say it and the your facial expressions, your smile and so
Hmm.
on,
Hmm.
that's a big part of it. So yeah, totally agree. I'd love to keep chatting, but maybe we should get to the meeting now and we can
Sure.
continue our chat afterwards at
Yeah.
lunch or
Yeah.
coffee. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's a great one. Yeah. Would love to keep chatting, but we only got 30 minutes. So why don't we get to the agenda? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that one. I think I probably use that all the time. Also, when I meet friends, I'd love to keep chatting, but
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
Awesome. So let's say someone has an important meeting, a big conference coming up. They know they're going to have to engage with people in English in a more casual setting.
Mm.
What would you recommend doing to prepare?
Okay, well, I mentioned before like this bank of questions. So I think it's good to, take some time before you go there and even maybe in your hotel room that morning to think about or even look at, a list of typical questions that you can ask in small
Hmm.
talk. So like general questions to ask about the person's job, their company, where are you based, how long have you been working there? And also, I think it's really important to think about who you might meet. So, there's a chance you'll meet people you've already met before.
Sure.
What do you, what can you remember about the person or the last conversation you had with them?
Hmm.
And that can be really helpful. And if you,
Yeah. Yeah.
remember, if you remember things about them or their situation, their company, and
Hmm.
you use them in
Hmm.
your small talk conversation, people like that. People like when
Oh
you
yeah.
remember things about them.
Hmm.
So, think about those typical questions for finding out about people's work and their jobs. Be prepared to meet people you've met before. The surrounding is there anything going on in that place, at that time, apart from the conference, maybe in that city there's something else going on, like a big cultural festival. That could be something that you could use in small talk as well. So yeah, think about who you're going to meet, general questions for making small talk, and maybe, if there's anything specific about
Hmm. Hmm.
the location or the city. I think that can be really helpful to prepare in that way.
Nice, nice. That's great advice. What are your thoughts on if there's a particular individual that you know you're going to meet, maybe checking out their LinkedIn, seeing if there's anything that stands out in their about section or their work history that maybe you could ask about?
Definitely. That's a great idea. Especially, yeah, if it's someone that you want to, get off to a good start with
Mm,
in
mm,
your relationship. It's important for you to build a strong relationship with that person. I think it's a great idea. Um, maybe maybe they posted something really interesting as well recently. You
sure,
could
sure.
comment on that, or in their profile they may have recently been promoted, and they posted about that, and that would be something that you could include, congratulate them,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and that makes a great impression as well. So definitely, I think that's a brilliant idea. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
do it.
And you can easily transition from that congratulations into a question. Huge congratulations on the new marketing director role. How have the
Yeah,
first couple months been going? How's it been going so far? Something like that.
absolutely. How's it been going so far? Great question. Great follow-up question. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I love it.
Awesome, awesome. So, last question for you, at least for this video. I don't know, there might be a part two in the future. But what's a specific example from your life of a non-native English speaker making a really good impression on you in a casual conversation? Because I can think of one for me, and I'm sure with 20 years of ESL experience, you've had some yourself.
One of the nicest things, or that puts a big smile on my face, is when I just go to, a client that I'm coaching, I meet them and they start the lesson with some small talk phrases that that I've helped them with, but they're using them in a really authentic and genuine way to ask me how I am, or
Nice, nice.
to kind of show an interest in what I've been doing or what's going on.
Hmm.
So that's always like, I love that. Or in general, when people just remember things about you and they
Hmm.
show
Hmm.
a genuine interest in you, and they try, they make an effort, and they don't only talk about themselves, they ask lots of questions. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think sometimes it's more important to be interested than interesting. You don't
Yeah.
have to share these amazing stories about yourself. Just show an interest in the other person.
Definitely, and there'll be a chance then to talk about yourself, or if you show an interest in them, you're always looking for a two-way conversation. Yeah,
Sure, sure.
I'm sure we've all had those conversations before with people who are very interested in themselves, and
Oh yeah.
those conversations aren't fun.
Mm-mm.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Something that I like to tell people is it's not just the question that you're asking, it's not just the topic, it's more what it says about you. And an
Yeah.
example from my career was when I first started my teaching job in Korea, the academy, it was half Koreans, half Americans.
Hmm.
And a lot of the Korean staff was very shy towards towards the American English speaking colleagues.
Right.
And it was around my second day, one of the Korean teachers, he kind of randomly approached my desk and he said, "Hey Grant, I've been meaning to ask you, do you like coffee?" It's kind of a random question, like you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be asking a new colleague that in an Irish office, but
Yeah.
the takeaway for me was like, okay, he wants me to feel welcomed
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
office. He wants to interact with me. And
Exactly.
he ended up being like my favorite colleague just because
Cool.
he was the first one to really make an effort to get to know me when I started
Yeah.
this new job. And it's not just what you say, it's how you make the other person feel. And he made me feel welcomed in a new
Absolutely.
environment.
Absolutely. And as you say, to make the effort, and people appreciate that.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
as I said before, sometimes, it is your second language. It can be a little bit scary, but
Hmm.
think about the bigger picture, building great relationships, which, can be great for teamwork.
Hmm.
And also, for finding new opportunities in the future. So, you know, it's better to trust yourself, not stay quiet, and just try it. You could end up having
Hmm. Hmm.
brilliant conversations, and making, not just good, not just having good professional relationships, but then becoming even more, and
Hmm.
turning
Hmm.
into great friendships.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Derek, where can people follow you, learn more from you?
Oh, yeah. I'm all over the internet.
Hmm. Hmm.
No, no. I suppose my YouTube channel would be
Hmm. Hmm.
the place where you can find the bulk of the content I share.
Sure, sure.
So my YouTube channel is Derek Callan English for Professionals. I also have my website, derekcallan.com,
Hmm.
where you can find out more about me and what I do. And I'm also on LinkedIn. I don't post as often as I would like to. Maybe that
Hmm.
will change in the
Hmm.
future. But yeah, I often use LinkedIn to promote my latest YouTube lessons.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, those are my three places where you can find out more about me.
Okay, perfect, perfect. And I know you have some courses on small talk, on business communication.
Yeah.
There's a lot of English books out there, a lot of free material, a lot of paid video courses. What do you think makes yours special? Why should people check your stuff out?
Yeah, good question. Well, I suppose what I like to do in my online courses is to have really short and focused lessons.
Hmm.
Most of the people who take my courses are busy professionals. They don't have a lot of time. So
Hmm.
I like to
Hmm.
prepare what I call like bite-size lessons that can give people quick wins. So really practical tips, skills, phrases that they can start implementing immediately and
Hmm.
get results. And what I also do in my courses in the video lessons, I use a very simple interactive method that
Okay.
helps people really practice, but also remember what they learn in terms
Nice.
of phrases and dialogues. And yeah, my learners really like them and find them really effective. So I suppose, yeah, focused, very practical, um, the stuff that people really need in
Hmm. Hmm.
business to, yeah, to communicate with more confidence and to feel good about, you know, the phrases they're using and so on.
Awesome. Awesome. I will put links to everything Derek related down below. Highly recommend you guys
Great.
check him out. And Derek, thank you again for your time. Really appreciate
Uh,
it, man.
Grant, it's always a pleasure. Lovely talking to you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely.